The NBA officials refused to give Cade Cunningham a foul call. We're going to talk about that and the Pistons' close loss to the Orlando Magic in just a moment.
Passing lane, Sky's a jam. Dynamite dunk and the crowd loves it.
Welcome back to Pistons Intellect. I'm your host, Jack Kelly. You can follow me on Twitter at Jack_Kelly_313. And if you're feeling so kind, please hit that subscribe button. As I mentioned off the top, Cade Cunningham just cannot get a foul call. Tonight, Cade, in his second straight game, didn't register one free throw. And it's kind of off-brand for me to complain about, or not like complain and bring up the officials, because I often think it gets overblown how big of an impact they have on a night-to-night basis. Sure, they can make mistakes, like I feel like they did in tonight's game, that cost teams games every so often, but it's not something I like to harp on a lot because I believe it doesn't actually impact the game as much. But in the case of Cade Cunningham, this man just cannot get a foul call. Tonight, he finishes with 26 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 11 of 20 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3, 3 turnovers, but for the most part, it was an excellent game, particularly the second half where he had 17 points. And I mean, much like the Indiana game where he had 30 points and I think 7 or 8 assists, similar shooting stats, just didn't get to the line. And it's really frustrating. And tonight it was super frustrating because on the other end of the court, not only was Cade not getting to the line and kind of helping the points tick over for the Pistons, but down the other end, Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, I should say, combined for 12 free throws, which 9 of those are from Paolo. So I think it's just super frustrating because Paolo often at times, there was one instance where Cade did like a spin move, tried to do a spin dribble and go around the defender at the free throw line in the first half, doesn't get any fouls called. Then Paolo, literally the next person down, does the exact same move, gets free throws. The only difference is Paolo does it at a much quicker speed, so the contact's exaggerated. And that's all I can think is the reason Cade doesn't get these fouls, because there's an art to drawing fouls for sure, and Cade needs to work on that. But I think it's just, to be honest, like he should be getting more foul calls. But also the only reason I can think, if I'm in the referee's shoes, why he's not getting more foul calls on drives is because he doesn't play at a huge pace, like at a quick pace, sorry. Whereas someone like Paolo and quicker guards in the league, when you're moving at a quicker pace and you get, the slightest bit of contact, it's more exaggerated because you're more out of control, or less in control, I should say. But I mean, I posted straight after the game and listen to these stats. In fact, I'm going to bring them up on the screen here. It's going to cover my face, but I'm going to read these out to you. So bear in mind, these stats are just before, like they wouldn't have updated from tonight's game against the Magic. So Cade Cunningham is 4th in the league for drives. So SJ is 1st in the league for drives per game with 23. He gets to the line 9 times a game. Jalen Brunson gets drives 19 times a game, 6.5 free throws a game. Luka Doncic, 19 drives per game, 9 free throws. Cade Cunningham, tick under 18 drives, only 4 free throws. And if that doesn't jump out to you as much, this last sentence will, and excuse the typo, but Luka and SJ are 3rd and 4th in free throw attempts in the NBA. Brunson is 18th, and Cade Cunningham is 46th in free throw attempts. 46th. So, because when you look at that first list, Brunson 6.5 doesn't stand out as much, but when you see where that ranks in the league, 18th, he's still in the top 20. I mean, it just shows. I think Cade's averaging 23 on the season. He was getting, the same ratio of free throw attempts to drives. I mean, he's up there at 25, 26 points a game, and he's a top, 12 scorer in this league. But the refs, for some reason, just do not give him calls. And tonight, I mean, Monty Williams brought it up in his press conference and kind of left the presser saying Detroit I think he finished by saying 14 free throw attempts, unbelievable, or 13. And I mean, Monty doesn't really get animated in presses, but he was, he had some things to say about the refs and kind of, I mean, Detroit's starting lineup, 4 guys played 30 minutes plus, and they only had 6 free throws between them, and 13 for the team overall. Just doesn't add up. And I think that's what sucks about tonight is Pistons deserve to win that game. I mean, apart from the second quarter where the Magic outscored them 33-25, Pistons were the best team, particularly in that second half. The defense, the intensity was there. In the first half, it was a bit shaky. But in the second half, it just felt like some of the best basketball I've seen the team play, at least just from a defensive intensity standpoint. And I'll get to Quentin Grimes in a minute, but just guys like him, fighting through screens, it kind of seemed to inspire the likes of Cade. And Ivy is someone who's always going to hustle, but just it's an awareness thing for him. But I feel like even he had some nice defensive plays in the second half. Sar Thompson tonight only played the 21 minutes, was in foul trouble, but he was a +6, team high, 8 points, 2 rebounds. Stats won't show it, but his defense was awesome. He was, he had 5 fouls, probably 3 of those he deserved. One of those is probably on the fence, and another one, Franz Wagner kind of grabbed his arm. And, whilst that annoys me what Franz is doing, because, what he's doing is illegal, he was sneaky about it. It's a bit of a vet thing, because Asar was very much in the grill of him and Paolo tonight, always had his arms around them, just sort of sneakily grappling them. And that's when Franz, to pick up Asar's 5th, kind of just grabbed his arm in the middle of some traffic and made it look like Asar grabbed him. Annoying, but kind of a smart move. But I thought Asar's defense was really good for the most part. And once again, you just get a glimpse into how good of a defender he can be on the wing for Detroit, because Paolo and Franz, I mean, tonight they combined for 11 of 30 shooting and 29 points. Those are 2 20-point per game guys in the NBA on a team that's 32 and 25, and they struggled tonight. Franz, he had the 5 turnovers as well. So I think that's just why it stings. I haven't even gotten to how this game ended. But yeah, the Pistons fall 109-112. They got it all the way back to 109 apiece off a Cade drive and finish. And then, I don't know, man, it just feels like teams, they hit those game winners at LCA. Or there's a lot of daggers. I don't know. Maybe just because the Pistons lose so much. But yeah, Paolo, about 12 seconds to go in the game, gets a switch on Jalen Duren. Kind of takes a step back down in the corner. Pump fakes. JD leaves his feet. Paolo draws a foul, throws a shot up, and it just drops. And then he makes a free throw. And looked like a travel, 100% on that play from Paolo. But even if the Pistons had a timeout left to challenge it, you can't challenge whether or not it was a travel. So be interesting to see what the refs say, the account, or the pool report, because that looked like a travel. A lot of people on Twitter are saying it looked like a travel, or on social media. So, but I don't know. Have to credit Paolo. He struggled all night, but he hits a game-winning bucket. And just a real gut punch for the Pistons. Tonight, it felt like if you get a win tonight, the good vibes are back a little bit, because they've had 2 poor losses to the Suns and Pacers prior to tonight, either side of the All-Star break. 2 losses where they were getting blown out and weren't in it for much of those games. And tonight, the Magic are a really good team. They're not as good as the Suns and Pacers, but they're not far behind the Pacers. Probably, the Pacers are elite offensively. Orlando are really good defensively. So, yeah, just a tough game to lose, especially, I haven't even got to Jalen Duran, but I thought in the second half his defense was impeccable. He had 4 blocks, which without looking, I reckon would have to be a season high. I think his career high is like 5, but a lot of people have been questioning his rim protection of late and kind of just his overall defense in the paint and in the pick and roll. And I thought in the second half he was excellent. He finished with 16 points, 11 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, 4 blocks. Just huge game. Played within himself, 4 of 6 from the line, 6 or 7 from the field. That's like the perfect Jalen Duren game for me. Had 1 or 2 moments. Maybe the second half's the perfect Jalen Duren game. Like he had a couple of moments in the first half where kind of got out muscled, out rebounded. But that Magic team's huge. They're huge, and particularly when you don't have Isaiah Stewart in the team. Asar Thompson, who though he's slight, helps on the boards, is in foul trouble. Like you're asking a lot of JD to rebound against the likes of Franz, Paolo, Wendell Carter Jr., Mo Wagner, Jonathan Isaac. Like they've just got so much size. Goga Bataze, like they got so much size. So I forgive, you can forgive some of those struggles on the boards for JD in the first half because there's just so much size there. And the Pistons, whilst they have some size, they're just Magic are freaking huge. So I thought Jalen played a really good game, to be honest. I'd be interested to hear what other people thought. Yeah. I think where I might end this one was just kind of on. It's the first game we've gotten to see pretty much close to a fully healthy Pistons team. Well, not fully healthy, but I guess just Quentin Grimes made his debut tonight. Played 26 minutes, which at one point was the most on the team at the start of the fourth quarter. He had 5 points, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 of 8 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. That probably should be 2 of 5 at least because his first 3 of the night was literally down and rolled out. And I really like what I saw. I'm going to give it a few more games before I start saying he should be in the starting lineup. But if you have the chance, if you haven't watched the game yet, go back and watch the way he fights through screens. Like I haven't seen anyone on the Pistons like that. He just, like I said, those Magic guys have huge players setting picks, and he just fights through them, is able to, a lot of the time, get back in front of his man or just stay on their hip and make it hard for them on the drive. I was really impressed with his defense. And like I said at the start, I feel like his intensity on that end kind of inspired some of his teammates around him. And plus minus says he's -9. He was out there a lot of the time with all bench lineups. I'll be interested to see how many minutes he played with any of the other starters. But, you want to see more shots drop. But the 4 assists, during the game, I was about to tweet out, being really impressed with his passing. And as I was about to hit send, he threw a turnover, which, was a little bit on the roll man in Wiseman. But I was really impressed with his passing because Quentin Grimes, a stat came up in the broadcast, 70% of his points come from the 3-point line. So he's not a guy that's going to do a lot inside the arc. But I thought he showed a little bit off the dribble to create inside the arc and make passes to open men, which I thought, if he's going to attack off closeouts, if you're not going to finish as often, then at least be able to make the right pass. And I think he did that tonight and resulted in 4 assists. So solid debut from him. And it's good to see. I feel like he's going to be a favorite of Monty's, and regardless of what you think of Monty, with his rotation and everything, I think you just have to be happy that you feel like Quentin Grimes is going to play a substantial role, because with some of the bizarre moves we've seen from Monty this season, there is a world where Quentin Grimes could somehow only play 10 minutes a night, and we're seeing Malachi Flynn play minutes over him. And yeah, so solid debut from him. And then Simone Fontecchio, I thought, was excellent, particularly in the first 2.5 quarters. In the first half, especially when the Pistons were struggling, I think he had 12 in the first half of his 17 points. Another efficient night, over 50% from the field, 3 of 5 from deep, 5 assists. Just that's seeming like one of Troy's best moves as GM. Regardless of kind of putting all the asset management aside, just that trade in itself seeming excellent. so far, a lot of it might depend ultimately how much Fontecchio gets paid in the offseason. But as far as a shooting big wing that can play a bit of defense pass, like Fontecchio is perfect. 28 years old. He's the right age to help these young guys. He knows who he is as a player, I think, which is really important with all the young guys Detroit have. They need guys surrounding them who know who they are and are happy to play their role. Another reason why I really like Quentin Grimes, even if he's a bit younger, he knows his role. He knows he's going to be a 3-and-D guard / small wing. So I think adding those two was a real big win at the deadline. And I'm fingers crossed they can stay healthy. Fingers crossed we can get Stu back soon because, I think he would have been a huge hand tonight. Regardless of what you think of Stu on offense and that kind of thing, I think Jalen Duren could have desperately used his kind of rebounding ability and just interior presence overall to support him. But look, there's no moral victories with this team. They went out the window once his team lost 20 odd games. But this all still absolutely sucks. I think just personally, it's weird. Tonight was fun. Watching that game was fun because I actually felt emotions towards this team. Like I was sitting there with my hands in a prayer position, just praying they could somehow win this game. My mindset this season has changed from, last season I was hoping they would lose because we were all in on Wemby, but this season I've never been so desperate just to see this team win. And tonight, honestly, I felt like they were going to lose in the end because it's just become the way it is. But once Cade hit that bucket, it was 109 all. I was just praying somehow they could win, but it wasn't to be. Just wasn't to be. So it just adds to what has been just a horrible, horrible season. Even though we can find silver linings and things seem to be trending a little bit better than they were at the end of last year, 2023, it still just sucks, all these losses. And just the fact we don't know what we're going to get next game, rotation-wise. I haven't even really touched on Monty's rotations. The all bench lineups were out tonight. Marcus Sasser was a late out, so Malachi Flynn got minutes. Cade Cunningham sat way too long in that fourth quarter. Pistons should have had him back in at around the 8-minute mark, not like the 6-minute mark. But just the fact you don't know what you're going to get night in, night out rotationally, just kind of, whilst I'm excited about some of these players the Pistons have added, and, I'm excited for Stu to come back, Sasser to come back, it just would not surprise me if Malachi Flynn and Evan Fournier are taking Marcus Sasser's minutes, and that will make me explode. I was ready to tonight because I didn't realize Marcus Sasser was out. Look, Monty played 10 guys tonight, but I think that's because of injuries, not because he's looking to shorten that rotation. So, yeah. Just, I don't know. Just this season just continues to be bizarre. And, yeah, tonight was just another gut punch. Although I've spoken pretty positively, it just sucks. So, fun game, I guess. But, we'll turn up every night and keep watching this team. No matter what, we'll keep pumping out content, no matter what, because there are plenty of players I like on this roster. But, yeah, man, it would be just nice to see this team go 500 over an 8-game stretch. That's where I'm at. Just want to see maybe 2 wins in a row, or maybe 3 games. That's too much. Probably too much to ask, though. But look, anyway, we'll be back to recap the doubleheader coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday, which starts in New York. But until then, unless there's any breaking news, go Pistons.